Hello, 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 everyone. Hope everyone had a great week and hope all of you are looking forward to the weekend. Hope everyone has something exciting planned for this one. I mean, if you're in the if you're in North America, it's like the peak of winter, so maybe not so much unless you're in the southern United States. Then maybe you can actually step out and do something. Otherwise, you just have to be into winter activities, which I'm not yet into them, even though I live like 2 hours away from Whistler, which is one of the the winter activity hotspots. I think across Canada and US, like it's one of the most, I guess, frequented spots for all winter sports enthusiasts. But yeah, if you're living in the lower mainland like I do, it's just gloomy, gloomy, more gloomy, and then to just to top it up, there is a little more gloom and then a lot more rain. So that's what we get for weather. But anyway, I don't want to raid on the weekend parade. If you're just starting your weekend, hope you have fun the next 2 days, get the rest, and then yeah, you're back up and running for yeah, Monday will show up whether we like it or not. So yeah, we just gotta live with it. We just gotta keep pushing forward. Now, for today, actually, this was meant to be for yesterday, but then I decided to move it to today. I was just exhausted yesterday. I didn't have the flair to go talking for like half an hour or whatever. So I wanted to point out something happy, something nice, something fun that has happened with regards to Vancouver over the past couple of days. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna pull this up straight away and get into it. So BC eats the competition alive at Canadian Culinary Championship. So this happens every year in Ottawa, and it's basically, I think it's some sort of a grand tournament that's happening for a long time, and then as chefs progress for the finale, they go to Ottawa where they have to do three different types of challenges over 3 days. So the first day is they have a set budget. They gotta buy some ingredients and make a portion of any dish. They have a set time on that. But yeah, that this one is more of a budget challenge than anything else. Like how do you get the best ingredients possible with a small budget and then make something tasty out of things. The second day is they get a black box, they get a mystery box, they open it up, there are some ingredients in it, and then they have 1 hour to figure out, okay, what they're going to make, and then feed people. I haven't really watched MasterChef, but I'm pretty sure these types of culinary challenges are not new. It's just that this is very Canadian specific and focused. um, and on the finale, it's the chef's playing field. They get to make whatever they want. And yeah, this is something obviously chefs have worked very hard towards. They've been practicing, practicing, practicing to get their chosen dish correct and as perfect as possible. So yeah, this year it looks like Vancouver's chef Jay Park. He's the chef de cuisine of Boulevard Kitchen and Oyster Bar. For those who are thinking where this is, I will show you what that location is in a bit. We'll just go over a map of Vancouver, and I'll just tell you a bunch of like nice restaurants all over the greater Vancouver area and why uh, the food culture in Vancouver is actually, it's actually almost like a hidden gem. It just doesn't show up as often. We tend to get a little overshadowed by cities like New York, even Toronto for that matter, sometimes even San Francisco. So uh, yeah, let's go over this a little bit, and then we'll go over some sort of we'll go down a data validation exercise of sorts as well. But yeah, let's go down. One gold Saturday night. So this was last Saturday. That's because Feb 4th. at the Canadian Culinary Championship in Ottawa, marking the third consecutive win for BC's representative at the national competition. So third time's a charm. Go Vancouver, keep up. Um, yeah, this just tells us, right? Vancouver is a lot more than just pretty mountains and I guess pretty beaches as well, and then pretty scenery. Like we are a lot more than that, and then this is one of those things where we excel. Can't say the same thing for the Canucks. Hopefully, we get to say something different in the coming years. But again, today is happy news only. So, third consecutive win for BC's representatives. So, yay, go BC. Keep at it, keep up the great work. And yeah, we hope to see more of this coming soon, coming more often. And there we go. I think that's the best way. It's nice to have like some sound effects just available. I'm gonna see if I can add like my own and whatnot. Anyways, let's go down. Has officially reached dynasty status, at least in the culinary world. Fair enough. Boulevard Kitchen and Oyster Bar. Um, Vancouver's third consecutive gold medal at the 2026 Canadian Culinary Championship in Ottawa. This was end of Jan, so it was this year, very recent. Is something in the water, or perhaps the sauce? I actually do think there is something in the water, just because, yeah, when I go out east, especially like I personally like Vancouver food more than Toronto food, more than I've eaten in many different regions of the US. I would definitely rank Vancouver food at the top when it comes to a good mix of cuisines, good quality, etc. And so I do think there is maybe something in the water. I obviously I can't prove it, but it just could be. And of course, if there is something in the water, then obviously the sauce definitely gets better. I guess it's just an extension, right? Sauce will have water. So anyway, I'm not a culinary expert, so I'm just making fairly crappy guesses at this point. Um, so let's look at a little bit on Chef Park's background. Park's winning dish was inspired by childhood memories on his grandparents' farm in Korea. So he is originally from Korea. I'm not sure if he was born and brought up here, or if he moved himself. Not sure. I guess if he was at his grandparents' farm in Korea, so he's I guess first gen immigrant. That's my guess. I could be entirely wrong. Park's array of small bites featured local wing tat chicken, poulet presse, gochujang gastric glazed chicken heart, a crispy chicken skin tartlet with chicken liver mousse, butternut squash globe with chicken juice, and chicken fat infused with garlic and thyme. By the way, do you pronounce this as juice? I have no idea. I have no idea what that word is. I've never seen it. Is that a typo or is that a thing? Please comment. Please let me know. Um, yeah, happy to learn more in this area. It just felt proud. Like Vancouver's in the news for something other than the Canucks losing. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. So I was just happy to cover this. That's why. Chicken is one of the special things for me since childhood. My grandparents cultivated greens, daikons, chilies, and raised chickens and ate seasonally. For Koreans, when an important person came, we got chicken, made soup, and roasted it. I honestly thought this was more the case with beef. Like beef was considered like sogogi, that was considered the more exotic meat. You would have with relatives, friends, like guests coming over. I didn't know that there was a thing like that when it came to chicken. Yeah, if there's any Korean person, or if there's any person of Korean origin watching this, yeah, please leave in the comments below what you think of this, because I really thought beef had that special status, and then chicken and pork were more regular. But maybe Park's family was different. Yeah, but just let me know, or maybe it's just some sort of elevated status given to roasted chicken. Not sure. Okay, Vancouver is known for diversity. I wanted to put the technique and knowledge I learned here on my plate, along with my culture, my philosophy, and my childhood memory. And it looks like Chef Park's culinary training happened at Vancouver Community College. So, completely Vancouver trained. He learned French, Italian, and other Western techniques for his maturation as a chef. I just want to point out, yeah, this is the section. By the way, this is Chef Park. You did see his beautiful photo on our thumbnail as well. I will get to the other gentleman on the thumbnail in a little bit. Um, uh, Here is the section where I just told you guys what the competition entails. So at the finale, you have 3 days. So this time looks like the first day challenge was $2.30 a plate. Holy Christ! If you could get anything close to that, even a royal pan for like even the I mean for non-Indians here, even the smallest of snacks in Vancouver don't cost 230. Even a pan at Royal Pan costs like $6 or something. Like, ah. On the second day, they receive a black box. As I said, it's a black box. They don't know. They gotta cook something from what they have. And then on day three, chefs cook whatever they want, and they just have to cook it to perfection. Um, there is the second gentleman on the thumbnail is Chef Bal Ajagaonkar of the Desi Indian Lounge. He landed the bronze medal at the Greater Vancouver Regional Qualifier for the event. So as I told you, there are qualifiers all across the country, and then that kind of leads up to the finale. So Chef Ajagaonkar got the bronze medal in the regional qualifier, in the GVA qualifier. So kudos to him as well. Definitely worth checking out Desi Indian Lounge. I actually don't know where this restaurant is, um, but definitely, right? Something to check out if you're in the Vancouver area. Obviously, check out Chef Park's restaurant, and then obviously Chef Ajagaonkar's Desi Indian Lounge as well. Again, I'll be going over to Google Maps soon, so you will see where both these restaurants are. Now, I just want to go mostly both Chef Park and Chef Ajagaonkar, what they have said is practice makes perfect. Of course, they have to do their chef duties at their restaurants every day, and then find the time outside of the busy hours to, perfect the dish that they're going to make for these competitions. So, really, this is a theme of life. You want something extraordinary to happen, you're gonna have to put at some level some sort of extraordinary effort. um, Same thing with these lives that I do, right? Like, I have a full-time job, I have full-time employment, but then I kind of find time outside of all the work priorities and whatnot, and then find an interesting topic and trying to just improve the quality as we go along. There's a long way to go in my case, but definitely what I just want to maybe as a learning lesson from this live is, if you want something crazy to happen for you, something very interesting to happen in your life, you're gonna have to pay your dues somewhere, and that's what Chef Park and Chef Ajagaonkar both are pointing out. Now, the other advantages that they have pointed out for Vancouver, apart from the diversity piece, which does make it a really good melting pot, is also year-round local growing capacity that makes farm to table a four-season affair, which means we get our stuff fresh, right? We It doesn't need to really travel long, and it does not have to, it's kind of like it's the same thing that happens with food in Mumbai versus food in Delhi. Delhi in India is known as the food capital of the country. I would tend to largely agree with that statement just because Delhi food is good. And Delhi gives you good food from across the country. But that in large part is because Delhi gets the freshest of ingredients, right? simply put, since New Delhi is in northern part of India and a lot of the food, vegetables and everything is grown in that region, they just get fresh veggies. Yeah. By the time it gets to Bombay, it's slightly older. So you kind of have to work a little harder to find. You still find good food in Bombay. Like I don't want all the comments coming in. Oh, you don't know Bombay food. No, I live in Bombay and I go to India, so I know Bombay food. Um, I love my vada paos. I love my pav bhajis. But when it comes to like all round tasty food, I just have to give it to Delhi. Like there are local specialties everywhere, like poha in Madhya Pradesh, or dosa in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. um, of course biryani in Hyderabad, and then Chettinad biryani style in Tamil Nadu, and then you could kind of go on and on. But from an overall perspective, if I think about just I can get really good food in India, it has to just be Delhi. Like I have to. It's difficult for me to say this as a Mumbaikar, guys, but yeah, I just have to give that to Delhi. um, anyway, um, of course, there is riches from our coastal seas. So seafood, obviously, not a big issue for Vancouver, just because right next to the ocean. And then, of course, there's a river. I don't know what Fraser River has. I don't know what fresh water seafood we get. If anyone has an idea, just please put that in the comments. I'm not sure if freshwater seafood is actually available. I know a lot of ocean water or salt water is. Um, and of course, sense of freedom sparked by diverse cultural influences mixing to create something new and exciting. So what I decided to do, and I'll kind of move to a slightly serious part now of this live, is I decided to put this to test. So makes farm to table a 4-season affair. So I decided to look into, okay, year-round local growing capacity, right? So I decided to put that to a little bit of test. And then of course, what is this freedom sparked by diverse cultural influences? I also decided to, put that to test and see what we can uncover. So let me change my screen share, right? So first we look at how does Vancouver get its food. So there we go. Here we have it. Actually, I have something nicer for you guys. Oh, really? Where did that go? Huh. Okay. Let me change this to this one. Okay. So let me go zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh, come on. Yeah. So I'll just zoom in here because this is where we'll get all our information. So the Metro Vancouver food supply, every year 2.54 million tons of food is consumed in Vancouver, or well, Metro Vancouver. Just for perspective, this is about Greater Vancouver area has now more than 3 million people, so it kind of makes sense that we are eating so much. Let me see what has happened to this, guys. Interesting. Okay. Okay, if I make this a bit bigger. Okay, I guess as long as this visual is visible. Okay, so let's look at this pie chart here where our food originates. So it's good to see that 26 of 14, about 60% of the food that's consumed in Vancouver is basically coming from somewhere in Canada. And then of course 22% comes as US imports, where I think the biggest chunk of that comes from edible vegetables. I think, and then the rest of it we are pretty good with getting it ourselves. Interestingly, even in fruits, that's something new. I guess, okay, offshore imports, so that, yeah, you can't grow much fruit in Canada, it's too cold. Apples maybe. Of course, in cereals, we are also relying a lot on US imports. Vegetables, we rely on US imports a fair bit. And I think the other categories, we are sort of, and I guess again also in fruit and cereals, we also rely on offshore imports. So I think in other categories, we have a pretty good, self-sustaining supply going. So yeah, when Vancouver Sun makes a statement like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, these guys know what they're talking about. Um, I can link this. Actually, I just found all this content, so I'll link all of this in the description. You won't find it right away, but I'll definitely give it to you guys. Is there any way I can move this? Yeah, it looks like, okay, yeah, here's a map of BC. Pork is imported into BC from Canada. Milling products, so that is all the wheat flour accounts for 90% of BC consumption. Most mills are located in Metro Vancouver or the Fraser Valley. Okay, 37% of pork is sourced within BC, 54 interprovincially. Beef 80% interprovincially. Eggs, oh, good to see that, 77%. And then BC is highly dependent on international imports of fruit. 79% comes from outside. Dairy, I mean, I'm not surprised all of dairy of BC comes from Canada. Like, I don't want to go there today. It's fine. But let's just say that's almost like, it's almost a funny statistic than anything else. I'm glad. I like Canadian dairy more than American dairy for sure. Like I felt it in the chai quality. Like when you make chai in Canada versus you make same chai in US, it just tastes different, and I don't know why. And I thought I was hallucinating. Like how can chai taste so different? But it does. I'm not kidding, guys. Like in I don't know, US milk is something different. So I'm fine with the fact that BC gets all its dairy from Canada, but let's just say there is some help provided to the dairy farmers. Poultry, BC is self-sufficient in poultry products, 24% within Vancouver, 56% from Fraser Valley. Sure. Fraser Valley, okay, is just an area which is adjacent to Greater Vancouver area, much larger patch of the province, but also much much more sparsely populated, if you will. Honey, yeah, I know honey, big industry around here. 40% of BC production. Okay, okay. So Metro Vancouver accounts for 40% of BC production for honey. So I didn't know that. Okay, yeah, I'm surprised. Why can't we grow rice in Canada? Rice needs a lot of water. Rice, well, maybe the climate, too cold. Anyone who understands agriculture or farming, just please leave some comments down, if you will. Yeah, I'm surprised. Why do we depend so much from offshore for rice? That's interesting. And we do depend, making Metro Vancouver a gateway for rice. Okay, interesting. Rice imported 75% and from the US. Okay, so 75% offshore and then 25% from the States. And of course, goes without saying, we export a lot of seafood. I don't think that comes as a surprise to anyone. Um, anyway, let's quickly move to the next bit, and I also want to show you guys the restaurants of the two chefs that we discussed. uh, let's see. Okay, I want to see if this one has what I was looking for. Okay, yeah, this is a 20, yeah, this is a, well, 2022 article, so this is slightly, well, outdated data in that sense, but still fairly relevant because it's, these percentages are probably gone up if anything else. So when we think about diversity in Vancouver and some of the things that the Vancouver Sun article highlighted. Um, yeah, so as of 2022, which was based on the 2021 census by Stats Canada, 54% people in the region identified as a visible minority. And the maximum among those were Chinese, which is 19.6%, and then South Asian, which is 14.2%, Filipino, 5.5%, and then the other sort of fairly common so ethnic groups you'll find a huge Iranian community, North Van, West Van, that region. You will find a thriving Korean community in Coquitlam, the suburb of Coquitlam, and then some parts of Burnaby that are sort of adjacent to Coquitlam. They have a huge Korean population as well. Of course, you can find pretty much everything. You have a lot of Turkish people here. You have you know it, pockets of Italian. There is a small Japantown as well in Vancouver. So you have a lot of representation from all over the world. Um, so that's what I guess has worked in the favor of this city when it comes to just having a lot of food options. And one thing that we have to give to Vancouver is you are never too far from getting an authentic taste of cuisine, with the exception of Thai restaurants, which I find not too many of over here, and even fewer that are really really good, like maybe a couple. You can find a huge number of restaurants associated with pretty much every cuisine. So let me just pull up Google Maps and I will show you guys, if you're ever in the GVA, on what to look out for. Let me quickly change the screen share piece. Okay, yep, let's go here. Of course, fine, let's get out. Yeah, so if you are in, let's first understand what GVA means, or what Metro Vancouver means. You kind of start here at West Van, you make a circle. Okay, we'll skip Point Roberts for now, but you kind of go all the way to the border, and then this city called Abbotsford, roughly speaking, and then all the way here with Coquitlam. So if you make like a circle around here, this is basically Metro Vancouver area. Now, just to point out, now this is by no means, this is not 100% exclusive, but there are concentrations within the region. So if you're looking for food around certain cuisines, it's best to try and kind of go to those suburbs, right? So now, if you want good North American fare, I would definitely say that this region of Vancouver, what's called downtown, West End, this has the best sort of Italian and then what you could think of as North American cuisine, or even European cuisine. Like, it has good Italian restaurants and everything. So all of the, think of it as Western Hemisphere food, I think is best in this region, downtown and West End. Or you come down on what's called Main Street and you just find one after the other, restaurant. That's my take. You can obviously find restaurants anywhere you go, but if you're looking for an easy win, then in this region your European food is probably the best, right? So please remember, downtown Vancouver, especially Yaletown, amazing restaurants around here. And then within West End, you'll find some exotic Italian restaurants as well, right? If you wanted to get Chinese food, Richmond. Like, hands down, Richmond, they have the best Chinese outlets pretty much in all of GVA. And that's primarily because the highest concentration of Chinese population is in Richmond. Like, of course, you'll find people of Chinese origin, Chinese people all over GVA, but Richmond is a pretty concentrated area when it comes to that. So you'll get your, I know, like, I mainly know like the hot pot places. So yeah, you have a couple of Hai Di Laos, you have one Shaolong Khan and his Khan and stuff, etc. there. So yeah, Richmond is your place to go. If you want Korean food, you come to Coquitlam. Coquitlam is actually pretty huge, but again, in this, let me find where is Loheid Highway. I am confused. Yeah. Okay. So once, yeah. No, not Coquitlam Central. Oh, really? Where? Huh. Interesting. I've actually never gotten lost this way. Come up here, BC, BC. Okay. Coquitlam Central, really? Here? Where is? Huh. Okay. Loheid Sky, Loheid Town Center. Ah, okay. There we are. So around this area, you will get a lot of amazing Korean restaurants. So this area is basically the border of, you see this road called North Road. It basically separates Burnaby on this side and Coquitlam on that side. So the best, personally, there's lots and lots of Korean options over here. You literally find Korean street food trucks over here. There's a Paris baguette, and then there is just an endless number of Korean restaurants. Like you can just Google in this region, and you can just walk. Now, if you're looking for Indian food, Surrey. That's Surrey might as well be known as, Surrey is known as Little India. I don't think it's little anymore. It's a pretty huge India. And all sorts of Indian restaurants, like you have Happy Singh, Tandoori Flame, Chaiwala of London, Bandra Cafe. Like these are the ones that I frequent a lot. Then if you want South Indian, there is a place called Sri Periyava. So Surrey is your place to go. And literally you drive every 5 minutes, you'll see an Indian restaurant. So just feel free to pop in somewhere and give it a shot. Kapil Sharma, the famous comedian from India, he actually has a cafe called Caps Cafe. I have not tried it yet, but if anyone has, let us know in the comments what you thought. Definitely on my list. I just haven't been able to get there because there are so many regulars in Surrey, right? Like Apna Chaat House. Or Bandra Cafe. Like Bandra Cafe, I could probably recite the menu backwards. And then Tandoori Flame, if you want to host a big party for a huge buffet, like it's just the food is endless over there. And then if you want like street eats, then you go to Happy Singh. You can get anything under the sun, from momos to chaat to even South Indian, just street eats from South India, like small idli and everything. So it's Surrey is your place to be if you want Indian food. Now there is actually a section of Vancouver which has a thriving Vietnamese population. So East Vancouver, this area, has amazing Vietnamese restaurants, like hands down amazing. Just again, you'll find you can decide your scale. You wanna pay a lot, be in an ambiance, you'll be able to find something. You want it cheap, you just want the restaurant, you want the food, you'll find something, right? This is not to say you're not going to find the other cuisines. It's just you have concentrations of populations from these specific countries in these areas, and so by that logic, you just get the best food or best concentration of restaurants from that part of the world over here. Let's now, before I sign off, I actually want to point out the two restaurants over here. So first, let me show you Chef Park's restaurant, which is Boulevard Kitchen and Oyster Bar. So this is in downtown Vancouver, and if you're ever in the city, okay. So here is Boulevard Kitchen and Oyster Bar. This is where Chef Park is doing his thing. So if you are ever taking transport, then either you can get off at Vancouver City Center for Canada Line folks, and I won't be surprised. Okay, and if you're taking what's called the Expo line, then you get off at Burrard. And if you're trying to look for parking in this area, forget it, you won't find it. Don't even bother. Best thing, park somewhere outside of downtown and then just take the train or the bus in. Looks like, yeah, I don't know the buses. Okay, take number 2. Doesn't matter. Oh, interestingly, oh, Japa Dog temporarily closed. Sad to see that. This is actually a nice Japanese street foods restaurant. It's pretty good. It's like a hole in the wall, but it tastes good. So, and in fact, since we are on this street, let me show you guys. There is actually a Jinya ramen. So if you ever wanted ramen around Vancouver, either look for Jinya or look for Kokoro. I don't think we have a Sansoti. But yeah, there's Ramen Danbo as well. So those three, all of them, pretty good. You won't feel bad. Of course, please make sure if you do decide to go to Boulevard Kitchen and Oyster Bar, this is a pretty pricey place. I actually looked at their menu. For a pricey place, it's not the priciest thing in the world. So if you have already mentally prepared yourself that it's going to be a big bill, you can actually go here. It's not too bad. I don't know for whatever that's worth. And then now let me show you Chef Ajagaonkar's restaurant, the person who won the bronze in the regionals. Desi Indian Lounge. Oh, this is also, this is Vancouver. So this is actually Yaletown. Actually, not necessarily Yaletown, slightly out of Yaletown, but yeah, this is also in downtown Vancouver. There is no SkyTrain around here. The closest is Yaletown Roundhouse, so you'll still have to walk a little bit. I'm just curious now. Yaletown Roundhouse, baby. Yeah, it's still gonna be like a 15-minute walk. If you're down for it, you could always just take this one. I would say to get to Desi Indian Lounge, you either just park. Again, you can always park somewhere before you cross one of these bridges into downtown and just take a bus. Otherwise, yeah, finding parking here is also going to be a pretty big nightmare. But yeah, here is Chef Ajagaonkar's restaurant, Bal Ajagaonkar. He won the bronze in the Greater Vancouver Regional Qualifier for the culinary competition, the Canadian Culinary Championship. So please go there, support him as well. And I would like to completely point out that just to keep the record straight, I'm not sponsored by any of the people that I mentioned. In fact, I have not even been to both of these restaurants yet. The article came along. It's a very great news for BC and for Vancouver, so that's why I felt I wanted to highlight that amidst all the negativity that's being shoved down our throats day in and day out. You know, the stimuli, you just can't escape them. I wanted to point out something positive. I wanted to show something about Vancouver that is not just pretty looking trees and lakes and beaches and mountains. I just wanted to point out that this is something about Vancouver that doesn't get highlighted. Personally, I've been in Canada for 6 years, actually 7, and out Out of that, I've been in Vancouver for about 5. And going back to India, because of like food is just not a reason to go back to India for me anymore. There is sentimental value, relatives, parents, everything, but other than that, I don't necessarily miss the food. And it is really that good here. Just the Indian food, and even other cuisines. Since GVA is actually not that large, you can get to any of these cool places no matter where you are, apart from if you're okay very far out in Abbotsford. I mean, if you're in, let's say if you're in about Coquitlam, right, which is the eastern suburb where I was showing you the Korean area. If you're close enough, you can get to places in like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So it's not too bad, even the drives. So yeah, it makes it a really nice sort of melting pot or mosaic, whatever you want to call it. Like a very good mix of all cultures. You can find fusion restaurants. So one of the restaurants you'll see in the thumbnail is Vijay's. That's fusion Indian restaurant. I've never been there again. Fusion Indian, not my cup of tea, but definitely worth checking out. Anyways, guys, hope you have a great Friday evening. If you are in the Vancouver region, do consider ordering from one of the restaurants I mentioned, or please go to Boulevard Kitchen, Oyster Bar, or the AC Indian Lounge. Check out the amazing food that Greater Vancouver area has to offer. Till then, signing off. Bye everyone. Have fun.